Good morning, boys and girls on the internet. Today is Monday, June 18th, 2018. Vlog number 168. And yeah, I had to. Yesterday's vlog was, even though it was a little long, I had to re upload it because I was flagged. I guess some of my tags were a little inappropriate. So, there's that. But today, we went to go see Incredibles 2.
It's time to make some wrong things right. Help me bring supers back into the sunlight. We need to change people's perceptions about superheroes, and Elastigirl is our best play.
Better than me?
So let me tell you about it without trying to be. I'm not going to give no spoilers or nothing. But I mean, it's a Pixar movie, so it's not something that like super spoiler heavy. However, it was, in a nutshell, a very, very good movie. You know, what I liked about it, despite the fact that it's been 14 years since the original, this movie picked up right where the original left off. And from the first movie, Underminer comes up, and they have to face up against Underminer as a first like little intro to the movie, and it's a pretty good pickoff point. All the characters, they're all pretty much, what you expect from those characters. But in this one, of course, as you know from the trailers, it looks like they want to kind of start up doing superhero stuff again, which that's something that's different from, like, say, Elastigirl in the first movie. She was totally against doing superhero work. But in this one, she's kind of, she doesn't want to do it, but she kind of gets convinced that, and she kind of gets excited for it, and she starts to enjoy it. And, story-wise, some people I've heard, like, they said that, the pacing when certain scenes were a little bit slow, such as, you see them in the trailers where Mr. Incredible has to babysit pretty much as his wife is off doing superhero stuff. Some people were complaining that those scenes were slow. I don't think so. They were entertaining, and they kind of gave a little more inside of like the frustration that Mr. Incredible was feeling. He was kind of feeling that, it's like, I want to be a superhero, but yet my wife is out there being a superhero, and here I am just trying to be a dad. And he struggled, of course. He was looking very tired and haggard after a couple of days with no sleep, and just taking care of kids and doing, helping Dash with his homework and helping Violet with her boy troubles, which that was a pretty, funny kind of, they set up right at the beginning of the movie, and like, oh man, that's some messed up shit that what they did with Violet's love interest, or her crush. I thought that's pretty. It was funny, but I was like, man, that's heartbreaking for her. And of course, the dad had to kind of deal with that. And then of course dealing with Jack. Jack and his, powers are coming up, and like his powers are freaking hilarious. Like, there's a scene there where he like fights a raccoon, and it's like one of the best fights in the movie. Not really, but it's just a really funny fight. You'll see it in his you'll enjoy it. Normally, I don't like baby characters or babies in general in movies, but it's Jack. Jack is hilarious. But so it kind of shows good with like Mr. Incredible how frustrated he is with just being a house husband, and he's like, okay, you know what, I'm gonna just dive into this, and he kind of grows in that, in this way of being a dad. I can be heroic in this way, and so in that way, yeah, if you're being a father or being a parent, what better way to be a hero and to be a hero to your kids by, being there for them in any way you can. Even if you mess it up, you're still trying. So that's good.
Supers are no longer in control. I am.
Suit up. I'll be there ASAP.
You better be back ASAP.
It's up to us. Yeah, baby!
Now!
I do like Elastigirl's. Her storyline was pretty neat. That she kind of goes off and does her superhero stuff, and her scenes are really awesome because like she has like a motorcycle, it's like all electric, and it's like super fast, and like the scenes are has really good action, and just all the ways that you could tell that she's a pro at what she does. That when she elongates parts of her body to do certain things, it's like she's right on the money, and it's really cool the way they do that. And can I just say, Elastigirl, she's thick. she's pretty hot for a mom of 3. But she's a superhero, and superhero girls are hot. Let's see, who would win a fight between Elastigirl and Wonder Woman? Probably Wonder Woman, but I think both are hot. So that's the comparison. But those are the two hottest, some of the two hottest superheroes out there right now. Elastigirl will definitely beat Black Widow, even though Black Widow's hot too. Moving along. There were some parts in the movie that were a little bit almost predictable. The villain in the movie, you kind of have a suspicion, like even before you go see a movie, of who the villain might be. You think it'd be like one of those comic book tropes, like one of those like things like, oh, this person's the villain all along and stuff. But they kind of flip it a little bit, so that might be a little bit of spoilers because if you see this and you go see the movie, you'll know what I'm talking about. And it was kind of a cheap way of doing it, but in a sense, it was a good avenue to portray and introduce more superheroes. There is more superheroes in this movie. I was kind of surprised about other than of course the Incredibles and Frozen. Frozen's awesome in this movie, by the way. The animation of his freezing abilities is much improved in this one. Let me just say looks really awesome. They have these new characters that all have pretty unique powers in terms of they're kind of variations of what you've seen before in comic books. Some were kind of unique, but I think there's 2 or 3 of the few superheroes that they introduced that have powers that are fairly unique in for the limited time that you see what they're capable of. And when their scenes are on and they're fighting, let me just say, the fighting and the choreography in this movie, they animated it really well. I have no doubt that Pixar are masters at their craft, and it makes it for a very exciting fight. There's a part where one of the other superheroes, one of the other reviewers mentioned this, and I was like, oh yeah, that's a really good point. It is that one of the characters, and this is not really a spoiler, but it kind of is, one of the characters can create portals. So it's almost like how, in the game Portal, where you can, put 2 portals and something comes out and goes in one and comes out the other. That's her ability. And she was doing this scene where she had to get a character up to a plane that was flying away. So she had to kind of portal, and she's trying to hit the plane and kind of keep missing, and it was a pretty intense scene. It was come on, make it. So that was pretty neat how they did that, and they played around with that in unique ways. Now, there is a scene, and I've noticed this on, there was a post on Facebook. And this might be a good warning. I don't know if people are just overreacting or if there's a legitimate concern. There's a Facebook post out there that are saying, warning, this movie has scenes where it might trigger epileptic seizures. Like if you're sensitive to, flashes of light, rapidly for, a certain period of time, this movie has that. Now, I don't know how many other movies that, I don't really notice it, but in this one I did notice it. Because there's a scene where, like, they're literally in a room surrounded by, like, flashing white and black LEDs that are constantly flashing, and like it's very flickering. And even sitting in the theater, I'm like, people can get epilepsy from this. So I don't know if it's really going to be a pretty big concern. Stay tuned for reports of people having seizures in the movie theater for that, I guess. So that's something to be aware about. So if you have sensitivity for that type of thing, just be aware of it. There's no real warning ahead of time of when it happens. It happens really only twice in the movie. The second time it happens, it's not as intense and not as long in terms of duration. The first one is pretty intense though. It's very, it took me aback a little bit, just by the intensity of the flashing. All in all though, I do have to say, comparison to the first movie, I mean, I would kind of want to go back and watch it again, but in this one, like, everything just looks so much more beautiful than I remember. Like, in terms of the visual quality of the environments, the animation is remarkable. Detail in characters' faces especially when they do close-ups, hair, cloth texture. Like Elastigirl, she has a new suit, and I was all like, "Damn, she's looking sexy in that suit," and just the way the light hit everything. The lighting in this movie, it's a very classical type of style of lighting, in terms of like the original, Incredible movie. They try to do like an old school type of serial type of superhero serial of back in the day, and kind of hit that tone, but yet have lighting of what you expect, music that you'd kind of expect for something like that, and this movie carries that on too. But this movie, like, everything just looks so well crafted, every single scene, and it's just a remarkable testament of the craftsmen at Pixar. If they would have told me, it's like, yep, the reason why it took 14 years to get this movie out to you is because people worked on it for 14 years. I would not be surprised at all. I mean, yeah, I know they don't take 14 years to work on movies, but I do know they take a number of years. All in all, of course, all of your favorite characters, excellent. Villain work, a little weak. I didn't mind it after they kind of revealed the villain, and I was like, oh, I knew it. The villain's motivations weren't all that apparent in this. They kind of touch on it, and the villain does have motivations. Don't get me wrong. It's just that they don't dwell on it too much, and they don't really reinforce it. Unlike the first movie with Syndrome, that was like his whole thing, and of course Syndrome was much more ruthless and pretty evil for a supervillain. He literally killed supers, and that's pretty dark for not only a cartoon but a Pixar cartoon, Disney cartoon, whatever you want to categorize it. The idea that a villain literally wound up killing superheroes, maybe off screen, and he alluded to who he killed. That's pretty dark. Nothing like that really happened in this one. But it's still the if you try compare the two movies, Syndrome blows away the character, the villain in the second one, hands down. Still makes it, still doesn't ruin the movie. It's still a very enjoyable movie. And of course some of the end fights when they're like doing all this cooperation and the way they had to do certain things, it's such a great and well crafted movie. The first Incredibles movie is one of my favorites, if not the top Pixar movies of all of them for me. One of my favorite movies. Second one, it's gonna be right up there. I kind of want to see it again. It's that enjoyable. I just want to like watch it again and like really study it, and like not really study it, but like just soak in the detail of the movie more, and soak in the animation and just kind of really absorb it more. And the theater we were sitting in, it was super crowded. A lot of kids in it, of course, and a lot of distractions. And we were sitting not too close, but we were kind of sitting kind of close on the opposite side. Whenever you're in that type of movie theater, and then the movie has a little bit of action, if you're close, you kind of miss things, because you have to kind of like move your head or move your eyes to like see the whole screen. I prefer to sit further back so I can just like look straight ahead and see the whole screen without, and be able to absorb everything. So I will go see it again, that's for sure. Not anytime soon. I'll wait a couple weeks. But it's extremely enjoyable movie. If you're a fan of Pixar, if you're a fan of the first Incredibles movie, or just any animated movie, CG animated, even drawn animation movie, like these movies are on par of like the best, hand drawn animation. Despite being computer animated. So I give it a highly recommended. I hope you guys enjoyed my review, even though I kind of rambled and bounced around a lot. I know there's a couple of things I wanted to mention, but I don't remember it right now. Again, I try not to give too many spoilers. So if you enjoyed my review, though, and you go and if you saw the movie and you enjoyed it, let me know what you think. That's it. So I'll talk to y'all later. Everybody have a good day, and I love you.
Combustion imminent? What does that mean? Ah!
It means fire, Robert.